Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Satisfactory. I'm AxionEvolved, and last time we worked on this, not really massive yet, but pretty cool looking, I think, aluminum plant. And here we're getting casings, we're getting outclad aluminum sheets, so that's all fine and dandy, but honestly, we still have more stuff to get into. More aluminum to make. We haven't even, well, we scratched the surface, but we got plenty more to go. So with that out of the way, let's hop right into this. So as I mentioned, this was kind of the crown jewel of the last episode. You know, we're tapping all the pink forests, that area's bauxite nodes. And I think this is looking and working pretty well. Now again, it's not full throughput because we don't have, you know, like 1200 belts and all that kind of stuff. So definitely something that we're going to need to run into and kind of come back and fix, really. But there's also something else that I noticed, and I think it's perfect timing that this train's coming in. If you look here, well, that says 400 items per minute, and well, I can't do it because it's in animation now, but basically these are not going at full capacity. And I think that's a throughput issue with just having one train on the line. So we're going to need to do another aluminum train, honestly. Like, we're going to need to put another one on this line so that we kind of get them both going. Additionally, let's talk about what we're going to do today, right? So looking at the map here, we got these guys here. These are all accounted for. There's a couple things that we need to also think about and kind of start getting back to our base. Number one, all this coal. What do you need coal for? Well, we need coal to make the aluminum. That's like part of the process, and we don't have enough. So that's definitely something that we're going to need to do. Number two, we have bauxite right here. This is like the Titan Forest area with the really big trees, and it's not that far from our current bauxite. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to take the train line that kind of runs this way. So the Blue Crater Lake train line that goes out that way. We're basically going, honestly, like that big tree right there. This one, that's where we're going. So that's going to be more modules. And I think if this is going to work out right in my head, this area is going to look super cool with another set of modules put down over here, right? So let's go ahead and go over there and kind of see what we're working with. So as I mentioned, I plopped down some miners here on these bauxite nodes, but this is, and you can see I'm kind of trying to plan out the train line here. So we got one up there. Now this is a super dangerous area. I'm gonna be honest, there's a lot of big spiders and there's a lot of those guys, the big hog things, right? So that's a 1200 right here, right? And then we've got a couple impure, so that's a pure. We have a normal somewhere, maybe this one. And then we have two impure ones. So there's one out here and there's one right around here. So my thought, right, if we're kind of basing this around 600 cars, we have two cars there, one car there, and the other two combined for one car. So it's only a 4-car train, right? So that's pretty nice. And my idea was to kind of build this like elevated, almost like scaffold supported train line that kind of, you can see the route I'm kind of trying to plan. So it'll kind of come through here, be all up off the ground. I'll have the trains, you know, all at the same level, and it'll loop back around and then just head back. So that's the idea there. And then I've also been working on a little bit of work from where we're going to come over this way. So let me go ahead and show you what that looks like. So I'm going to start the new transition way back here. And because I wanted to differentiate it from the one we already have, and you can see kind of how it's going to work. So it'll kind of be like a double stacked little thing here, but you know, this is all going to get replaced with the normal supports eventually. But I thought this is kind of a cool little area that I can put a bunch of these frames, the frame foundations, and you can look, there's like plenty of room for this train. No clipping or anything, right? So it's really, again, I'm trying to eventually go for the theme of like very compact, very tight, very you know, almost feel like you're going to hit stuff, but you don't actually hit anything, right? So the general idea is that I'm going to go like this, and then we're going to have a return line. You can see I've kind of started working on some of the tracks, right? We'll have a return line kind of somewhere in here like this, right? Same distance, and then we'll just transition down, you know? Like, we'll do the same thing, and then hopefully everything lines up down there. I haven't checked that yet. I'm only doing this now with you guys, so we're going to see how that all works out, right? But I want to go all the way out here. Blah, 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 right? And then what we need to do... Okay, so we have the same... That's one of the reasons why I make the trains, the different tracks, kind of end at the same spot. So we can do stuff like this, right? So let me match this up, because I like some kind of symmetry here. That's just kind of a placeholder. But then we can take this and merge it back in, and boom. So the return line will come up this way. They'll go over there and go to the aluminum, right? So this is all something, I mean, this is fairly straightforward. The only thing to kind of make note of is how we're going to kind of work our way up. And again, this is kind of using the same techniques that I've used before. So obviously, like, foundations are the simplest way to do it. But on top of the foundations, you also have, you know, the situations like this where you kind of have to curve in a certain way, you know. And then as we look over here, well, I want to elevate, because we have some stuff there, right? We got some infrastructure there. There's like a crash site over there, but there's also another resource well just in that forest there. So we're going to be elevating with some ramps, but it should be pretty straightforward, you know, ramps and then beams and all that stuff, right? So this is, again, kind of straightforward. So I want to go over there and actually start working on those stations and the thought process for how we're going to get all that bauxite out. So let's kind of let's play around and figure out what we can come up with. So as I mentioned, I'm going to use a little bit of fly for this one, right? But that was, you know, we have this resource node that we want to kind of avoid, right? So we're going to be coming up at a level, and I just kind of determined that we're going to just put scaffolding in like this, right? So I thought this was a really cool idea, and, you know, it's just kind of like supported but holding on to the terrain around this tree. This tree is kind of like the focal point of this whole area, right? And so I put scaffolding out in kind of all directions. I'll probably come out this way more too from here, and maybe bridge this. So, you know, the idea is that it's all off the ground because the ground's dangerous, right? We have lots of creatures out here, and so something kind of similar to this, right? Where I have it, you know, if the tree is an anchor and there's nothing directly on the other side, it kind of just spans these two, right? So I think it's going to look pretty cool. And I'm also, let me know, but I'm experimenting with using more lumen, right? I'm down to 60 FPS, 60 or 70 when I'm, well, actually, no, it's going back up to about 90, right? But I'm going like max, I think it's all like high global illumination. Moody bright though, because I still want a little bit of light in there, right? But I want to build this with, like, eventually I want to build my world and decorate it in a way where, again, like, illumination is thought about or brought into or designed around, right? So the idea is that all of these are going to kind of run up towards the station here. Again, I'm going to do probably the boxes underneath here, because we didn't leave myself a lot of space here. I want it to be kind of out of the way. We'll have a bypass probably cutting through here. Yeah, so pretty straightforward. I mean, it's train stations, but I'm trying to, again, take care to decorate everything in a decent manner, right? So let's see what it looks like with the belts connected, because that's kind of going to kind of drive some of the stuff. Okay, so I'm playing around with some of how I want the belts to run. So I definitely want to do something like this, where I kind of have, not like protection necessarily, right? But almost like a barrier between my extractors and the world. I thought about maybe, and I've seen other people do this and I think it's really cool. I thought about maybe figuring out some kind of miner blueprint that I could slap over the miners to just kind of make them look a little bit more substantial, you know? But obviously I haven't done that yet, right? So this is the idea though. Running this stuff right below all the infrastructure, and I've got some of the train tracks laid out here so you can kind of see how it should work, and I think it's looking really cool. And then again, we got this one over here, and again, it's super dangerous everywhere, right? So this is just coming down, but it's all feeding under, and when you go under, it's going to feed into all these boxes here. Now again, that's a 1200 line right here, right? Well, it will be. That's a 1200 line, and we only have 780 belts. So so this is going to feed these first two, or these last two cars, right? These two boxes. Once we get enough, or once we get 1200 belts and can split properly. So for now, you know, it's doing what it's doing. This one is, again, the medium one, so that'll be its own box. And then these two are the impure, so they will combine once they're all maxed out into this last one over here. What? You see what I mean? Look. Creatures everywhere. But yeah, I think this is looking pretty good. And I like the way, you know, I've added a couple more supports in here to really kind of like make it feel a little bit better. I still have to connect these belts over here, but I'll be doing kind of the same thing, running them under and merging it all over there. I think I'm also going to run the power. What's really nice about the train stations is that they bring power, right? So I'm going to run the power kind of underneath and do all that. I also want to make this feel like an outpost of some kind. So I think I'm going to build some structure around this tree here, right? Because, like I said, eventually, you know, if I let the world kind of, if I get the world saves out there, if anybody's interested in that, then when you're running around the world, I want you to kind of be able to explore and find things and you know, just kind of vibe out if you want to, right? So that's kind of the idea. That's kind of what we're going to do. So I guess let's finish this off and kind of start working on these tracks. So when we're looking at this in progress, right, I want to show you, first off, look how awesome that is looking. So I've connected the train tracks all the way down to there, and I am super happy. I love the sweeping curves. I'm really liking the way our train supports are kind of working out. They're kind of just dotting the terrain. We're gonna probably end up missing this, but I also want to kind of showcase how, again, like how the angles all work out, right? So, you know, we have our ramp to straight transition piece here. And then what's really nice about this, and I can actually show you this. So if we do this, you know, we just want one of these guys. I'm going to have a long straight section here, right? You can see that. So what I want to do, or what I have done, is I made some blueprints, right? I don't know if I showed these in the last episode, but double train V is just this, right? And what we can do is we just kind of come over here, make sure it's lined up at the right height, nudge it over, boom. And then I can do the same thing over here. Switch it to blueprint. Nope. Like that. And then when that does is that I can just come through and say I want to get rid of these. Get rid of all this. Anywhere I might need it. Again, it's probably a little too far, so I'm going to have to do a little bit of manual adjusting, right? But just like that, now I have my decoration, and you just got to connect the beams. Boom, boom, right? So that was kind of cool. I made that. That really helped out for the straight sections. And I have like a single V as well. So it's just that. But that really helped out. So that's going to be what we use to decorate kind of the rest of these tracks, because a lot of straight sections here. The curves are a little bit different. So what I'll do is I'll run, so for example, the double V to here, and then we'll go single V out that way, single V out this way, so I can start my blueprint up here and go in this way. Also, I want to point some out. I don't know if you guys can see this. The lighting is a lot brighter, and then once we kind of get into the canopy, it definitely, the tint changes. It starts getting darker, kind of spooky, kind of cool though. But yeah, so I've also kind of redone this part at least to kind of, I don't know, make it just line up a little bit better. I like that better. just better. But yeah, this is the way that the train lines are going to be kind of run. I know we kind of showed this already, but this is in a more complete state, especially with the outputs, and I got this guy hooked up as well. So pretty straightforward, and you can kind of see how the curves all work out, and I just really love this, right? I love that we're kind of up in the trees, and you know, when we get into, I think it's like this area right here, I think this is like a canyon, and there's also some kind of canyon stuff up in here in the desert. I really love the idea of kind of like terrain hugging, maybe not the ground, but the contours of the cliffside. So it makes it look like the train is just kind of coming off the cliffside instead of kind of being suspended in the middle like this. So anyway, so this is close to the final product, and we got one more thing we need to do. And I don't know, we'll kind of see how it turns out, kind of see how it all looks. And so here's a better shot too of kind of how it is all turning out. And I think I'm going to bring you guys behind the curtain a little bit, right? This is a mod I have installed that affects the time of day. Let's get into nighttime. Because I think I kind of like the way that things look at night these days. Hopefully it's not too bright, especially with the lumen on, but I really wanted to kind of bring you over here and kind of look at what we got going on, right? So this is kind of what I'm working on. We've got a little tree house up here attached to the train station, right? So, you know, a little bit of light coming from there, a little bit of lights coming from over here. And what else we have? We have a little pathway, right? Titan Forest, bauxite out. Got ourselves a little pathway over here up into this kind of like observation post tree house. You can go kind of either way. And it's, you know, it's just kind of like a platform. We got some observation lights. I hung up some signs to give us some task lighting on the inside, right? You know, basic stuff, a MAM, some boxes, you know, little equipment workshop. I could put it probably a awesome shop. You know what? I kind of want to put a crafting bench somewhere too. Like that might look kind of cool, kind of situated like in here, maybe. You know, like I wanted to make it look like, maybe I'll kind of make up some crates or something. But yeah, the idea is that you could come up here. Maybe I'll also put these lights on like a lighting control panel or something. Because it doesn't seem like these big guys over here are doing a lot, but I think that's what that lighting is. Well, I mean, I don't know. They're on. I don't know if they're hooked up. Because they don't seem like... Oh, maybe I didn't hook them up to power. Is that what the issue is? Am I just the fool of fools? Oh my god, I never hooked them up to power. Okay, hold on. Let's see. Now we got a little power nub. It is already connected. What's going on here? I mean, I guess it's kind of... Well, no, it doesn't seem like it's doing anything. Maybe it's just not tall enough. Or it's too tall. Anyways. So that's kind of the idea that, you know, you can come over here, kind of observe what's going on. Kind of observe the wildlife. Like, this is... Maybe it's like a research station and, you know, like industrial station or whatever, right? I just thought that was kind of cool, and I want to kind of show it off at night, especially because we're trying to play with lumen here. There might be more opportunities for lighting, and like, you know, like the mushrooms glow, and we got the spicy rocks glowing, and all that kind of stuff, right? So that's just kind of the thought process behind all of that. I think it looks pretty good though. Okay, so back here, we should be getting in again another 4 bauxite nodes, and since this is 4 train cars effectively worth of bauxite, we're gonna just do this again, and that's kind of the beauty of the blueprints, right? But what I want to kind of do, right, aluminum ingots here, I want to build it like this way, right? I think that's what I want to do. Or do I want... No, we're gonna do pipes to pipes. So let's see if we can kind of line this up, right? Because I want it to be somewhat symmetrical. Oh my god. I just like totally missed the mark there. There we go. So that's middle to middle. I think that's pretty good. So we'll just put that down. And luckily with blueprints, this is like basically just like a copy-paste job. And you just line up the middles, right? So like that's the middle. That's lined up on this one. And it should be... Yeah, it's a little bit displaced for this. But that's fine. So we're just going to copy that down. Get it all the way out here. And then we're going to do the exact same thing But I have some other features, I think, that I want to look at, and just kind of projecting. You know, if you kind of come back this way and look at this at a distance, like the left side looks kind of busy. You know, if I go into photo mode here, put my hands away. No, anyway, this looks pretty good, but just imagine when the right side is doing the same thing and it's just as busy. That's kind of what we're going for. So let me plop these down and we'll start to get a better sense of what that's all going to look like. Okay, so I think this looks really good, and I want to kind of like reveal it to you guys. And so I'm going to turn around, but man, here it is with the extra modules for the Titan Force setup. And it's not all the way hooked up yet. Yeah, and we'll talk about that in a second, right? But man, this is kind of what I meant. If you get kind of like low in here, I don't know, maybe this will probably be like the thumbnail too, something like this. But man, it's going to start looking, especially when everything's running, it's going to start looking crazy. But yeah, so let's kind of talk about what's going on, right? So this is essentially a mirrored setup, right? So obviously it's like opposing, right? I wanted to build, I spaced this out a little bit, right? Because I wanted this catwalk, and I might even make this a double wide catwalk, honestly. We'll see, right? But I wanted to, you know, walkability. I wanted you to be able to get from A to B. You know, we'll kind of mess around some more. But you can walk between the modules. You know, and when you're really like down into them, I think they look pretty cool. You know, you can kind of like monitor stuff. Maybe I'll make an upper walkway or something like here, you know, and then kind of just like connect the walkways through the modules so you can kind of just walk around. But God, it looks so busy, and it looks crazy. And this is what I wanted, right? So let's talk though. Let's talk differences, right? So these guys are outputting in this direction, right? So if you're looking at the module, as I place it, the output directions are usually to the right, and we made them come down and go left, right? Or actually, yeah, no, that's right. These guys are kind of the same thing, right? They're outputting, and they're going to the right. Or I guess they're left, right? And so we just kind of did the same thing. I just made this stuff, and we're following it down this way, and then they're all going to output out in this direction. So everything's going to output this way, and that's mostly for consistency with dealing with the machines down below that we're going to have to deal with eventually, right? So what do we still have to do for this? And I'm going to tell you right now, it's not getting done in this episode because we have a little bit more bauxite that we need to grab, and I want to kind of deal with all of the logistics for the extra water and coal. So that's the spoiler, right? It's water and coal we don't have hooked up yet. I want to deal with that all at once and not piecemeal it. Like, I don't want to run these guys and have them run it. I ran all this because we needed the aluminum. Like, we needed to start processing that, right? And we've got plenty going, but this is all gonna, you know, we're basically gonna have to double, maybe like 2.5x, depending on how much bauxite's over left. We might have to have like another one of these, and I don't know where that's gonna fit, honestly. I don't know if it's gonna fit there. Maybe what I end up doing, honestly, ooh, this could look kind of cool, actually. Maybe what I do is I actually cover, like I expand it over this way, because I think we're right level with the train stations. How does this look? Guys, I'll be honest, I'm literally planning this as I'm recording this. This is not pre-planned. This may not even end up working, right? But I want to see kind of what's it going to look like. It's almost going to look like a subway. But if I do another set of module, so I got to come out. They might have to be at this level though. It all depends on how much bauxite we get, right? Because again, every 3 of these modules, like 1, 2, 3, that's all 200, right? So 200, 200. So this is each row is 400 bauxite per minute, right? So we'll have to see. But what I'm gonna do, I'm thinking about expanding this way and kind of covering this up. So we almost have like an upper and lower layer. Oh man, it could be really cool. And then I'll have to figure out something to do with kind of like this dead space right here in between. But I can kind of wall it off or something, you know, maybe make some like accessibility areas with viewing, you know, like like windows and stuff. I don't know. It could be really cool though. It could be really cool. I just got really excited about it. So anyway, yeah, I love the way this looks. And again, like I said, water, coal. Now coal, we'll go back to what I kind of talked about in the beginning of this episode. I'm probably going to grab all this coal. I need to figure out exactly how much coal I need, because I know for a fact that we're not even giving these modules enough coal. I just think our throughput's low enough that it's just kind of dealing with it. But I think we need like 720 coal, and I know we're not getting 720 coal. We're not getting it out of the Blue Crater Lake stuff. In fact, I think the input's over here. Right? Yeah, I mean, it's backed up now, but again, I think that's because we're not maxing out what we need. I mean, like, look at this. But when this thing is humming, full bore, I think each one of these lines is 1080, right? Yeah, 360 times, or no, this is 180. Yeah, 180 times 6. 180 times 6. Yeah, so 1080 times at least 4 right now, right? So 1080 times 4, 4,300 so far, with another, I don't know, 2 maybe, right? So like, okay, this is a good time to talk numbers just a little bit. We're gonna end pretty soon, but I wanted to kind of address and talk, right? So if we look at this train right here, let's look at some throughputs actually, because I did put a second train on this. We're damn near at 400 items per minute. Some of these are at more than 400. I don't know, they're kind of evening out, right? But one of these guys should only be a little bit, because it's like an extra. And I think it's this last one. So it would be worth... Yeah, this is the one that splits into all the other ones, right? Yeah, they're like maxed out too. Well, that's good. So it would be worth... Oh, and here's the hookups for the second train line. Kind of neat. Kind of neat. And they're all running off that way. Eventually, we're going to want when these guys stabilize, and really, when... Again, this is being built to handle the current setup. It's not set up for maxed out, right? And by maxed out, I mean 1,200 belts. And this line is set up to 100% handle the max capacity of the Titan Forest. This is not set up to handle everything coming out of there, right? So what we're going to eventually need to do is fine-tune the inputs of the bauxite to kind of match the capacity here. Take that extra with whatever we get from the swamp and put that in the rest of the modules. So I need to figure out those numbers. That's just something that I need to do. All right, and how are we looking? So like you see the numbers are adjusting. Maybe not quite. 372, 303, right? So yeah, we'll kind of see. We'll kind of see how it all works out, right? But if those numbers stay low, because those should be, I want those to be at 600, because that's what should be going into each one, right? So, 600, that's another 3 modules, or the difference, right? This is 400 because we're taking 200. Oh no, this is 400. That's 200. That's 200. So if I have another 200, I need 3 more modules. Right, so if that's 600 and it's set up to take 400, then I need a whole new module, right? So we could have quite a bit more, which I think would look really cool, no matter what. Like, no matter how we end up getting it fit in here, it'll look great. Some other things I did need to do, or I had to do. So here's the track update for how things are getting in here. I added this branch here so that the Titan Forest train could get back out in that direction, because I didn't really have a good way of coming this way back around, right? And I did do something that I hate doing, but I ended up doing it anyway, and that's crossing tracks here. So when there's the Red Forest Bauxite train 2 right there. So when you cross this way, right, because this is purely for the Titan Forest and probably the swamp in the future train. So by doing this, when you're crossing really this line, because any train cone here won't matter. You have to, your pathing, your signaling has to get different, right? So path signal there, path signal here, because these two merge, right? So this, and then I think this had to be upgraded to a path signal. Yeah, so this had to be upgraded to path signal. And then what that means is that it can read kind of what's going to happen between here and that block signal right there, right? So just, you know, lots of stuff. So anyways, guys, I think that kind of covers it all for today. Next episode, though, I want to be done with aluminum. And that means we're in the swamp, which is a really spooky spot. I think, though, I will say getting to the swamp means that we're going to finally take our... Nope, I want map. Our train line that kind of runs along here and kind of just dead ends. We're going to extend it out because I think it actually runs like probably to about here. We're going to extend it out into the swamp, though. So that'll be cool just from a train network expansion standpoint. And yeah. So anyways, guys, thank you all so much. I hope you're enjoying. I hope you like these blueprints because I think they're pretty sick. And I think it's pretty cool the way everything is like looking at the end of the day. So anyways, guys, thank you all so much. And we'll see you in the next one.